So a couple of people weren't here last week, and we spent all of last week working on the sacral chakra. And as a very natural progression from that, this week we're going to be working on the solar plexus. So the solar plexus is above your navel and below kind of your breastbone. So it's this space here. And the physical component of the physical body which relates to the chakra is the stomach. So you can think like where your stomach is, that's where the solar plexus is. And as I spent a long time talking about last week, and I'll try to not spend a long time also talking about it this week, is that even though we have thousands of chakras in our body, thousands of different energy points, the 7 that we mostly talk about in yoga are important because they relate to key physical parts of our body. So that's why they sit on the Sushumna Nadi that goes up the spine, but then we obviously have physical organs that correlate to these different energetic properties. So you can feel the effects of the different chakras at an energetic level, at a spiritual level, at a personal level, and at a physical level. So the physicality of the solar plexus chakra is our stomach. So that's, where it is. Of course, if you have something yellow, yes, Sandra, wearing yellow. And I think Emily is in yellow too. Amazing. That's the colour that resonates with the solar plexus chakra. And as I've said before, what that means is that the energetic vibrations of the solar plexus chakra are similar to the energetic properties of yellow. Allegedly. And basically, if that helps you to, in any way, feel more connected to that energetic centre, then that's wonderful. You can also, of course, go away and look online for all of the smells and the chants and the animals and everything that is related to the solar plexus chakra. But the important thing that we want to know is that it is the fire element. So it's about awakening a fire within, and you can even think about the saying, setting a fire in your belly. That's what the solar plexus is. So let's begin with our eyes closed. Lengthening your inhale and your exhale. Bring awareness to your belly as it fills with air on your inhale. And as it falls on your exhale. And as your attention is on that abdominal breathing in this abdominal cavity, you can also really connect to the solar plexus here. It's the same space of awareness. As with all of these Zoom classes that we have the wonderful opportunity to partake in from the comfort of our living rooms, please be responsible for yourself. Please think of yourself as a teacher for your own practice, giving yourself the adjustments that are right for your body, and not forcing yourself to do anything that feels uncomfortable, following your own breath, following your own practice. Pull the shoulders up towards the ears, and then pull the shoulders down away from your ears, feeling the shoulder blades pull down your spine as you've relaxed the shoulders. Imagine rooting down from your sit bones, with energy lifting up from your pelvis, your groin, your belly, your chest, and out through the crown of your head. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, palms meet. Exhale, hands to your heart center, Anjali Mudra. Inhale fully. Exhale fully. Inhale for Om. your eyes. Namaste. Move your cushion to the side and let's begin today on our backs. So, lying on the floor, bring both of your hands onto the space where your solar plexus lies. And I'm going to talk just a little bit more about why this chakra is important and how we can use it to better relate to our journeys. So keep your hands on this space. You'll also feel your belly rising and falling as you inhale. So you can totally take this moment just as a quiet meditation for yourself, zoning out from what I'm saying, or you can listen. It's really up to you. The solar plexus is a really important chakra because it is the seat of our ego. And the two chakras before that, the root and the sacral chakra, are about us kind of coming into the world and developing this sense of individuality. But then all of the experiences that we have in our lives, the country that we're born into, the parents who raise us, the language that we speak as our mother tongue, the things that we experience, the people who we surround ourselves with, all of these parts of our experience come together to form this sense of the ego, which sits here at the solar plexus. And the ego isn't something to reject. In yoga, people talk about moving beyond the ego, and of course that is a part of it, but that doesn't mean that we're not still also our ego. We are the result of all of those experiences. So working on the solar plexus is really about nurturing that ego. So celebrating who you are, what makes you individual, and using that self-confidence to move forward into the world with power, with intention. And of course the negative sides of the ego are where you start to associate too much with it. We have a tendency to surround ourselves with people who are like ourselves, so that we're not challenged by the particular ego that we have, that we're comfortable in that. And when we're in that state, we can be aware of that when we see that maybe we're having negative feelings about people from other groups. So the ego likes to attach to certain tribes and reject things that are different. So we want to think about moving through that. And for me personally, when I most experience problems or a wounded ego is when I want to do something kind for somebody else, and then I'm upset when they don't reciprocate that kindness, or I don't think they're grateful enough. And I'm sure we can all think of experiences that we've had that are similar to that. So my intention that I'm setting for myself this week, and you can use it as an intention for yourself or choose your own, is to do an anonymous act of kindness for somebody else. And obviously in it being anonymous, you can let go of any expectation of anything in return, just doing something good for the purpose of someone else. So that is my intention for the week. Maybe you want to think of a different intention. It could be to do with the solar plexus, to do with self-confidence, to do with emotions. The solar plexus is also the seat of our emotions. And just take 3 breaths now to connect with whatever that is for you. And then reach your arms up overhead, bring your feet together, give yourself a big stretch. And we're going to start to work straight into the physical aspect of this chakra now. You're going to use your core to pull yourself up to seated. So try to not let your feet come off the floor. You pull yourself up with your arms forward. So you're in a seated position. And then exhale, try to keep the legs on the floor. Of course, if it's too much, then you can let the legs come up. But otherwise, arms come down. Really using the core and then pulling yourself back up. So try not to touch the floor with your hands. Keep engaging the core. We're going to do 5 more like this. So you've got to really engage here in order to be able to move up and down. Also use the breath. You can use breath of fire. I'm not counting. Damn it! I think that's 3. 4. 1 more. 5. So now up into a seated position, and we're going to come straight into Navasana, which is a pose we're going to work on throughout the week. But let's first do a nice gentle Monday morning Navasana. So bend your knees and bring your hands underneath the backs of your thighs. Lift the toes off the floor, shoulders pulling back, chest lifted. Hold here for 5 breaths. Again, using that breath of fire if it helps you to connect. Starting to feel the fire in your belly. 2 more breaths. Beautiful. Cross the right ankle over your left. Bring your hands in front of you and step back into downward facing dog. So let's try to make this a new experience of downward facing dog. Maybe you've done this pose a million times, but let's make this one unique. So just play with the distance between your feet. Maybe going wider than normal, maybe going closer together than normal. Maybe turning the toes in, hands further apart. See if you can change your experience of what this pose is like for you this morning. You can keep your knees bent as much as feels good. This is first downward dog of the week, most likely for most of us. So let's move into the week with gentleness, kindness to ourselves. We're not forcing ourselves into uncomfortable variation of the pose. And look between your hands and let yourself float forward, coming into plank, rounding through the shoulders, and then push back with the sit bones back to downward dog. Rounding through the spine, plank, lift the sit bones back, downward dog. 2 more like this. And then come back into downward facing dog. Let your shoulders come away from your ears. Push the chest forward. Lift the sit bones. Relax the head. Inhale, lift the right leg up. And step the right foot between your hands. Drop the left heel in line with the right foot. Bend the right knee. We're going to rise up into warrior 1. So hips are facing towards the front of the mat. You can square the hips with the front of the mat, bringing your hands onto your hips to make sure that they are in one line. And that might mean that you bend less into the front knee, and that is totally fine. Putting up from the pelvis, pushing back with the back heel. Maybe take your arms up. bring the arms behind you, clasp the hands together, pull them away from you so that your shoulder blades come together, and then fold forward into humble warrior. So your head drops down either towards the right knee, or maybe you can bring the right shoulder inside the right knee. Keep pulling the arms away from you. Keeping an awareness in that solar plexus center. And then use your arms to pull your torso back up. Come back into Virabhadrasana 1. And then bring the arms down, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Step the left foot between the hands. Drop the right heel, preparing for warrior 1. Hands onto the hips, check the hips are square. Getting into that right leg as you push down with the right heel, down with the left big toe. Maybe bring the arms up. And then bring the hands together behind your back, clasp them together, pull them away from you, and drop down into humble warrior. Strong with the back leg. And then, as if someone was pulling you back up from your arms, torso lifts. Inhale, warrior 1. Maybe you can sink a bit deeper now into that front knee. Float the arms down, step back to plank and chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra, up to you. Do what you need this morning. And exhale, downward facing dog. Look between your hands and slowly start to walk the hands forward. Inhale, hands onto your calves, flat back, reach out from the crown of the head, out through the sit bones, lengthening through the spine, and then exhale, hinge from the hips, bend the knees, come to Uttanasana. Bring your hands together behind your back, clasp them together, and let the arms come up over towards your head. Keep lifting your sit bones up so you can keep lengthening in the backs of the thighs, grounding down through all 4 corners of your feet, and weight is very slightly tilted into the balls of your feet. Release the arms and graze the floor as you bend the knees. Inhale to rise up. Open the chest gently. And exhale, hands to your heart center. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep, full breaths here and notice how you feel. Beautiful. Inhale, open your eyes, reach the arms up, open the chest. Exhale, hinge from the hips, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, step or jump back. Chaturanga or knees down to cobra or up dog. We're going to stay in cobra or up dog for 3 breaths. Moving the shoulders away from your ears and opening the chest. Push back, downward facing dog. Big inhale through your nose. Big exhale, release. Let's do that again. Next inhale, lift the right leg up. Step the right foot between your hands. We're going to come back up into warrior 1. And this time, we're going to extend the right leg, bring both hands onto your hips, and hinge from the hips. Come forward till you're in flat back. And you may want to adjust your feet here if you don't feel stable. You can step the back leg in slightly or wider, whatever feels good. I'm stepping in. And we're just going to focus on pushing the right hip back, lengthening through the spine. So like we did in Uttanasana, energy coming out from the crown of the head and out through the sit bones so that you can really stretch out all the muscles in your spine. And from here, we're going to come into Pavitra Trikonasana, revolve triangle. So you bring your left hand down, either inside the right foot, or maybe you can bring it outside. And then keep pushing the right hip back as you look over to your right side, right hand on your sacrum. And if you, so push down with the right big toe, push down with the left heel, and if you feel stable, lift the right arm up. Really big stretch for the right leg. Breathe into it. And then unravel the arms, so both arms come back up. Inhale, back to standing. Bring the hands together and either take hold of the elbows or maybe come to reverse prayer. Lift the chest, hinge forward. Again, coming to that flat back, pull the right hip back. Lengthening through the spine, push down with the right big toe, push back with the left heel, and imagine that you are trying somehow to move the feet towards each other so that you can engage the inside of your legs. You can stay in flat back or fold forward. Ooh, good morning. Good morning, right leg. And inhale, come back up. Release back into warrior 1, bend the front knee. And then bring the arms down and step back. Plank, chaturanga, up dog or cobra, downward facing dog. Other side, inhale, left leg lifts. Step the left foot between the hands, right heel down, inhale, warrior 1. So we stay in this pose. I realised that I never ever hold warrior one, always rushing on the way to get somewhere else. So if that feels the same for you, take a moment to notice what's happening for you in this pose. And then extend the left leg, hands onto the hips, hinge from the hips, come to flat back. And maybe you need to adjust your leg, I do. Step the right foot a bit forward. Pull the left hip back, lengthen through the spine, and then bring the right hand down either inside or outside the left foot, left hand onto the sacrum, and twist here. So you're pushing down with your right hand so that you can turn the chest more towards the left. And if that feels fine, you can extend. You need to stay super grounded with your left big toe, right foot, pushing back with the right hip. Beautiful. Bring the left hand down, both arms come up. Bring the arms behind you, either taking hold of the elbows or back into that reverse prayer. Lift the chest and hinge from the hips. Left hip back. Lengthen through the spine. Strong feet grounding down with the feet, engaging the legs, and maybe you can fold over the left leg. Keeping your awareness in your shoulders, don't let them rise up. Inhale. Rise back up into warrior one. And then arms down. Step back, chaturanga. Inhale. Exhale. Let's drop onto our knees for a moment. Tuck the toes. Push your sit bones back and then slide the arms back behind you. Lift your chest here. So we've been doing a lot of folding. So kind of folding out allows us to feel like the constriction of this energy center. Now think about opening up this whole channel. Then slide the hands forward again, tuck your toes, come straight back up into downward facing dog. Let's hold here for 5 breaths. Again, being aware in this pose, conscious of what's happening before we go into the next transition. Inhale, look between your hands, lift the right leg, step it through. And we're going to inhale up into high lunge. So pulling the energy into the midline and up. Think about the legs moving towards each other. And then once you have that engagement, then let your hips sink low. Arms lift. Bring the hands in prayer over your head and then drop the hands down to the base of your neck. Open the chest. Bring the arms back up and hands to your heart center. We're going to transition straight into warrior 3. So core strong. Bend the front leg, and lift the left leg up. Hips are square, pushing into that right big toe and grounding down with that foot so you can grow tall through the right leg and maybe lift the left leg that little bit higher. Keep working with the core to stay balanced. And then bend both knees. Bring the left knee outside the back of the right knee and sink down onto the floor, coming onto both sit bones. So the right knee is bent and the right foot over the outside of the left knee. Reach the left arm up. Either hug the right knee or bring the elbow outside the right knee. Right hand behind you. Let's twist over the right shoulder. Inhale, back to center. Release the left arm. Bring your fingertips down to push yourself up and step back. Plank. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. Big inhale through the mouth. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Look between the hands, step the right foot through. And inhale, rise up, high lunge. So again, everything into the midline and up from there. And once you're engaged here, then you can sink into the hips that bit more. Keep pushing back with the right heel. Lift your arms up. This time let's bring them together behind the back. Fingers clasp and pull your arms away from you. Inhale, arms up, and exhale, Anjali Mudra, preparing to lift up into Warrior 3. So that flat back that we've been working with in pyramid and triangle and Uttanasana, maintain that here. And then bend both knees. Right knee comes behind the left leg to the outside of the left knee. Sit down so that you're on both sit bones. Left leg crossed over the right. Reach the right arm up and then either bring the elbow outside the knee or just hug it around. Left fingertips behind you. Lift through the spine and exhale. Look over your left shoulder. Twisting from the belly, keeping that awareness with the solar plexus. And come back to the front, fingertips down, push up and step back to plank. Let's have one last vinyasa. Chaturanga to up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. And then step the right foot halfway up your mat to the left side. Cross the left leg behind it and then sit down. And we're going to come straight up into Navasana. So maybe you want to support the backs of your knees, holding here for 5 breaths. lifting the chest. Awareness in that solar plexus center. Cross the right ankle over the left, and you can have two options here. Either give yourself a hug, or more active, push yourself up and down. Inhale back to Navasana. This time maybe you can extend the arms. And you want to be really working here. So maybe there's a shape coming into your legs. Good. Really, really fueling that fire in your belly. Cross the left ankle over the right. Either hug yourself or push up and back down. Again, Navasana. This time maybe you can straighten the legs, or of course support them if you need to. Cross the right ankle over the left, push yourself up, final Navasana, make it count, down, and next inhale, hold. Okay, and we're going to slowly maintain that, start to drop the legs down. Drop the chest down. Fire, belly should now be absolutely on fire. We're going to hover here off the floor for 5, 4, hold, 3, 2, 1. Drop everything into the floor. Woohoo! Hug your knees into your chest. Big, big hug. And then drop the feet down so the knees are still bent. And we're going to come into Setu Bandha, bridge pose. So take your hands, make sure there is one hand's distance between your sit bones and your heels. And before we come up, just gently lift your chest and slide your shoulders down your back. And then we're going to slowly start to lift the pelvis as if we're peeling ourselves off the floor from the base of the spine upwards. Tuck your chin. And once you've got your hips lifted off the floor, your thoracic spine off the floor, maybe you can bring your hands together, or if that doesn't feel good, come into this robot arms with the elbows pushing into the floor, and this way you can lift the hips higher, or if your hands are together, then you can lift higher onto the shoulders, get more space into your thoracic area. Push down with the feet so that you can lift your hips higher. Keep tucking the chin. Lift the toes off the floor. Drop them down and lift the heels off the floor. Drop them down. Lift. Maybe you can bend one knee in and extend the leg. Or if you don't want to do that, then don't. Stay lifting the hips. Bring both feet back down. Release the hands to the floor wherever you were and come back down vertebra by vertebra. Extend the legs. Reach the arms up overhead, and as we did at the beginning of the class, use the strength of the core to lift yourself up. Walk your hands behind you with the palms facing forwards and lift your hips. Come into Purvottanasana, reverse plank. So thinking about your toes reaching the floor, Lifting the hips, head drops back. And drop the hips down. Give yourself a big hug. Ooh, big squeeze. Let the legs come forward. We'll just have one last release in Paschimottanasana. So nice and gentle, walk your hands forwards. Maybe you can take the toes, but don't make this be the most intense stretch. Thinking about starting to find ease, softness. Inhale, look up, release the hands, and rounding through your spine, but keeping the belly pulled in, come down slowly to lie on your backs. Let the legs come wide, palms as wide as the mat, facing upwards. Big inhale in. And exhale, release, letting your body sink into our final pose, Shavasana. Start to bring movement back into your toes, your fingers, hands and your feet. Bring a sense of energy back into your body. Bringing the feet together and inhaling to reach the arms up overhead. Give yourself a huge stretch. Let everything go. One more time, just like that. Bend one knee. Roll over onto your other side. Push yourself up to seated with your eyes closed. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Inhale fully. Exhale. Inhale for on. absolute pleasure to start another week with you all. What a joy. Thank you so much. Hari Om Tat Sat.